Like, I'll use this one today. Okay. Y'all may or may not know, but I'm going to backtrack 10 years. Holy moly. I would say other than our marriages, this might be our longest relationships is our relationship with Plexus. And so 10 years ago, what month are we in right now? We are officially in May. So a couple of March, is that right, Sal? Mm-hmm. Is that Celeste joined Plexus. Roz joined somewhere in end of May, June, beginning of June, I think. And then I started as a customer right after that. And then 5 months later, after seeing what Celeste was doing, because Roz we're going to talk about this, but Roz connected us.
Hey, are you recording this?
Yes.
Okay, just making sure.
So prior to Plexus, I've known Roz. She was my former boss. We were good friends, but Celeste was her friend in McKinney, and we did not know each other. But as soon as I decided to become a customer with Plexus, Rosalind immediately said, okay, you need to start following my friend Celeste. She's already been doing this for a while. You'll have fun watching her do all of these things. Celeste was already moving up the ranks at this point. And I think they kind of already knew it was getting close to like maybe July, and Celeste is going to go on the Hawaii trip. And then there was an Amelia Island trip for Leaders Retreat. And so I got to watch all of that happen vicariously just through Celeste's social media. So I would say maybe like a year later, we really became like friends, like true, like it takes time of like meeting people together and doing lunches and doing all these things and really connecting. And Celeste and I have so much in common, just personality wise and just likes and things like that. And it's just fun to get to realize some of your dearest friendships will come in a community. You really didn't need new friends. I will say this, Celeste probably did not need new friends when she joined Plexus. She did not need more friendships. But I would say what a gift the last 10 years have been. So I just want to kind of connect all that. Rosalind signed up with Celeste. Celeste signed up with Jen Hawkins. So it's Jen, Celeste, Rosalind, me. And then wherever you fall underneath that, you can kind of figure out, oh, I'm Andrea's level 7. So I'm Celeste level 9. You can kind of figure out where you kind of fall in. I always think that's really interesting. Okay. I'm going to really try to stay on task. Not going to happen, but we'll get there. Okay. So backing up even further than that, Sel, tell me we're going to break down her whole story from the beginning. Tell me what your thoughts were when Jenny first started sharing about Plexus on social media, and you were like, but like, what was going on in your life too? Like what was happening in the Gwynn household while Jen is simultaneously sharing about Plexus?
So, I think I had an 11 and a 12-year-old at the time. I was a stay-at-home mom, and it completely filled my cup. Wasn't looking for a side hustle, wasn't looking for a job, was super involved with philanthropic stuff and my kids, obviously, the school, room mom stuff, PTF stuff, super full life. And to be honest, like I had just seen pictures of Jen Hawkins, who was my roommate at Oklahoma Baptist University. And I think I called her up. I'm sure some of y'all have heard this. And I was like, bro, like you were fat and now you're skinny. What are you doing? Like your baby's 12 months old. My baby's 12 years old. I guess I need to lose my baby weight too. I mean, like that was she's my best friend, she's like a sister. And, she kind of told me, I did not really know about Plexus as a business. I definitely knew about network marketing and was completely disgusted by it and spent the first 36 years of my life kind of not very nicely making fun of people that did network marketing. I was like, if I need your candle, I'll go to the store. If I need mascara, I'll stop by the Clinique counter. If I want to go on a trip, I'll just plan it. I don't need to join a company that is network marketing to go on a trip. So not a good taste in my mouth. I'd been burned by folks that I thought wanted to be my friends, and come to find out they're trying to sell me something. And I was just like, I will never do that. That's gross. So she told me a little bit about the business, and I was a little condescending, and I was kind of like, oh, that's so cute for you. Like, Jenny, do you know, like, do you know my family? Like, we don't do things like that. Like, that's so cute for you. And I would love for you to get to be a stay-at-home mom because it's awesome. I just want the products. And I didn't know, I mean, as many of us, and as some of you may have known about gut health and the benefits of all of that stuff, but I'm being completely honest, it was complete and total vanity for me at that point. I wanted to lose baby weight, and that was my focus. What an amazing blessing, what I have learned over the course of the last 10 years about health and wellness and gut health and blood sugar regulation and all the things. And it's completely changed my life and the life of my family and so many people that I love, but I wanted to lose weight. So to be honest, I kind of like didn't know that it was network marketing. For all I knew, like Jen's grandpa was like in the basement, like mixing up some pink powder and like she's packing. I mean, I did not really know that it was a business opportunity, but when she threw out the word network marketing, I shut it down. And, you know, I shut it down for about 9 months. I think I sent Jen 25 customers in that 9 months. So, I mean, I'm the top earner. Clearly, I'm a complete idiot. So anyone can do this. I was a retail customer for that entire time. I didn't even want someone to like automatically run my credit card. Do y'all deal with people like that now? Or were y'all ever like that? Like, no. I will go on your website and I'll order when I need product. That was me. About 9 months in, she came to visit and said, man, you're an idiot. Your best friend can tell you that. You know, join, it's going to help me. You'll get your product wholesale. And I was like, cool. I want to help you be a stay-at-home mom. It's awesome. Threw her my credit card. She signed me up, like literally sitting on my couch. She came to see Maddie Grace in a play, Little Mermaid. Now I'm convinced she was really coming to like manipulate me to join her team, but that's okay. Like, she's a good friend, right? Like, we would not be here if it wasn't for her follow-up, the fortune in that follow-up for 9 months of her going, you're so stupid. So, I mean, I guess the rest is history. I mean, even after I joined, I actually told her, this is a quote that she loves to share, Jenny, I want to help you, but I literally don't know anybody else that needs this stuff. Like, end quote. And, you know, the rest is history. The next day, sitting at volleyball practice and then a wrestling practice and then a theater rehearsal. And moms are like, whoa, you look great. You have crazy energy. Why aren't you exhausted and run down? And I had to text Jen. I think she would say 25 or 30 times and be like, hey, what was my website again? I mean, still just sharing. And, you know, as a product of the product, you know, just to throw in like a nugget, I think sometimes 10 years later, we get extremely bogged down with have to do this training, have to be on this call, have to read this book, have to go to this event, that we really forget the value of just sharing authentically day in and day out, the value of being a product of the product. And y'all, that is not for me being like a, you know, bikini fitness model, right? Like my product of the product is I want to have a healthy heart, to live a long, healthy life, to be a really great active grandma someday. And that's what I preach, period. Hopefully someday sooner than later, if Maddie Grace follows in my footsteps. But I mean, she'd already been engaged if she was going to do that. So we're not necessarily on that trajectory, but hopefully sooner than later to be young and active and healthy as a grandma. And that's kind of like what I've preached all these years. And I think that there's huge value in all those things, but I do think sometimes we can get like checklist crazy of all the things we have to do to be successful that are all good things, that we get overwhelmed and we really forget about the value of just listening twice as much as we speak and adding value in conversations when we know we can help people. That's how I built To Diamond twice. I am not a checklist girl. I'm not a systems girl. There's great value in all that. I'm blue. I'm ENFJ. I don't even know my Enneagram. So what are you if you don't know what you are? Yeah, 7 wing 8, I think. But I'm literally just like, I came to have fun. I'm bossy. Now we use the word influencer. I think that has a lot more positive connotation than bossy and loud and obnoxious. I'm an influencer. And I share with people authentically by listening to their needs and being genuine. Man, I think I have something that can help you. People don't come to me and complain about their finances or how tired they are or that they don't feel good because they know I'm going to go, do you know what I do? Right. So it's just sharing authentically through that. And I've been able to really keep my integrity in place and never felt like I was pushy or salesy because I have the mindset. I really feel like this is a gift and this is a calling. And I feel like I've got something that can change your life. Why would I not share it with you? And if you're not interested, we're still friends. And I still have a lot of friends 10 years later that haven't joined. And I still have a lot of friends 10 years later that are watching and joining monthly. Still 10 years later, a marathon versus a sprint, right? You got to meet people where they're at. So that was a really long answer to your first question. How long do these calls usually go? Do I need to tighten it up a little?
You don't have to tighten it up at all.
Okay.
They go anywhere between 30 minutes to an hour. An hour is pretty standard because what happens is we start talking and then people start realizing they have questions kind of along the way that, okay, so we talked about kind of like your thought process getting in and then really getting like joining to help Jenny out, but also a little bit of like just knowing you, a little bit of like, okay, so you're telling me if I do this, I get this. If you're telling me if I go Emerald, if really, I think if you backtracked it, you'd say, if I help Jenny get to Emerald by the end of July, then Jenny gets to go on a trip and she needs that. She and Cody need that. They got married later. They had kids later. They don't have kind of the financial like support and foundation that we have. So if I pushed really hard and got Jenny to Emerald by the end of July, then she gets to go on that trip. And that's awesome. But if I get to go Emerald by the end of July, then Jenny and I get to go on the trip together. Now, I know that just because I know your story. So how did you do it so fast? I know that fast isn't always best, and we talk about it being a marathon and not a sprint, but you did kind of decide to sprint, do a couple of like crazy triathlon sprints in your business, one right after the other. And then I think since then, it's really become that marathon long-term business. But what do you think set you up for the success from the beginning? I mean, obviously we can go back to where you were sending Jenny customers, but what do you think set you up? And then anytime someone probably tells you, I don't have anybody left to ask, you're probably like, yeah, okay. So where do you kind of go from there? Like I've asked like you literally went double diamond in what, a year?
It was 2 years total to double diamond.
So
how do you do it? So, I was really nervous about telling my dad what I was doing. And my dad was a customer, loved the products. He's a very successful traditional business guy. So is my brother and so is my husband. And I sat them all down. We have family meetings. I don't know if y'all do that. And I had the call plan like printed out, and I was like telling him nervously. I mean, I remember like I'm getting sweaty just thinking about like the lead up to this conversation with my family who's, well known in the Dallas-Fort Worth area in business, in missions, in our church, in local politics. I'm like, I'm about to do this. And, we share a last name. How do y'all feel about it? And my dad and my brother and my husband all looked at the comp plan and, we talk a lot about having belief in yourself. And I was really blessed that they all looked at the comp plan. They all already love the products and they go, oh yeah, you're going to be diamond. So, just from the psychology standpoint of like having that belief in yourself, I was extremely blessed that I had 3 of the men that I admire the most in the world in business looking at our comp plan, cheering me on, giving me the green light, saying, duh, you're going to be diamond, right? So that was massive for me, just as far as like, the sprint of, okay, I can do this because I had their blessing to put our name on these products, and, as far as like, how did I do it so quickly? I for sure made a very conscientious effort of calling all of my good friends and saying, hey, we're going to do this together, right? Like we talk a lot about not being pushy and like not being cliche. hey girl, hey, or hey bro, like, let's do this. But like with the people that I had the relationship with that I could do that, I pursued them with a vengeance. Like, Roz, you're upline, like, Roz, why aren't you doing this? Like, you need this. And her going, Celeste, I don't have the time or the money. And me going, exactly, that's why you need to do this, right? Like blocking those objections from the very beginning. And I was extremely blessed that I was doing life with go-getters. I was extremely blessed that I was doing life with like-minded, motivated people. I don't take any credit for that success. I will tell y'all, I wasn't a good leader. I didn't know about the products. I didn't know anything about network marketing, but I did know that I trusted my family that looked at the comp plan and said, yeah, you can do this. And I knew that if I linked arms with like-minded people, that we could do it together. And with my personality, I knew it was going to be way more fun along the way to do it with my best friends. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I have goosebumps about the fact of like just getting to link arms with like-minded people, and also knowing those people that you linked arms with, helping a single mom really like buy a house and get to support her and her daughter, getting to help a friend whose husband's going, under in business, and you actually like this gets to lift them up and give them that cushion until he can figure out what does he want to do. And with Roz, like you got to see her journey with Colton, and you got to go, no, you need, like, you're telling me that y'all need this, therapy or this testing or whatever. And I'm telling you, I have something that affords that. Like going through all of your list of people and going, yeah, I have that gap. And we've gotten to hear from some of those people. I think we had Aaron Zimmerman on just a couple of weeks ago. And like, we've gotten to hear from some people that like Celeste not letting up because she loved them, because she believed in this. And she was like, I know I'm doing the right thing. I know our company's amazing. I know the products work. I know the industry might get a bad rap, but if this is what the industry is, I'm not all against it. Mm-hmm. You need this too. And I just think that's such a huge, like, I would love for each one of y'all to just like write down or like take a note and be like, here's where I'm stumped. Here's where I'm listening to Celeste's story, and here's where I'm saying that's not me. I don't have enough belief in myself. I don't have people around me believing in me. I don't actually have enough belief in the products. I don't actually believe in the business. I actually am totally still embarrassed about network marketing. I didn't tell you I was going to ask you this, but how did you get over your like network marketing is like crap? And wait a second, I'm a full-fledged, not only network marketer, I am the face of our company as a network marketing company. Like I am the top earner, have been, I mean, as long as I've been in the business, I think you've been the top earner. So that's, 9 years. So how do you go from really dogging the industry, probably both personally and to other people, to championing the industry?
Yeah, I mean, that's a really, really great question. I think for one, it's like the cliche, like I cared what people thought about me till I tried to pay my bills with their opinions, and, a little backstory. I'd already mentioned that I got married extremely young. I got married right before I graduated from college. I have an amazing, godly, hardworking husband that we made some sacrifices early on for me to get to be a stay-at-home mom. So I had never had a job or a paycheck in my life until Plexus. Okay. And so Andrew, we've always had he's always had the philosophy, like, this is our money. Your job is super important. I'm out working. You're doing the most important job that there is. But I'll tell you what, when I got that first check, and I was like, oh, that's our money. This is my money. And I think my first check was like $2,000. That's a big deal for someone that was 36 years old that had never made a paycheck. So when I got it was a paper check in the mail, and I showed it to Andrew, and he was like, dude, is this legal? And I was like, oh no, cash it. Like, hurry up, let's cash it before they change their minds. Because all I was doing was just sharing with all of my friends boldly. I think that's how I got over the hump, holy moly, like I have a husband that is, busting his hump to make ends meet, to keep our kids at Christian school, to allow me to be a stay-at-home mom, I can still be a stay-at-home mom and give my kids 100% and be at everything and contribute. I mean, y'all, if it had stayed $2,000 a month for the last 10 years, that was a lot of money. That is a lot of money. But at that point, it was a whole lot of money for our family. So I think I just caught that vision really quickly. Andrew was actually telling the story a couple of weeks ago about how he told me well, first of all, I wanted to go to convention, get to convention. This is a great story for convention. And it was around my birthday. And I went to him and told him I wanted to go on a business trip to New Orleans for convention. And he said, honey, listen, that's so cute. Just say you want to go to New Orleans for your birthday. And he told me in the same conversation, whatever you make with this little thing, like that can just be your play money. Needless to say, it's our money now. He works really, really hard still to this day, but I've lapped him, probably about 20 times monthly for the amount of effort, the amount of money that he makes for what he does. And he goes into an office every day and he works really hard and he loves it. But he tells me every day when he leaves for work, man, you've got this figured out, as he goes and sits behind a desk. And, I really do believe, though, at the end of the day, Andrew Gwynn pays our bills. And I think God knew that I had really big dreams for giving back. We had really big dreams for our nonprofit. We had really, really big dreams for our church. And I firmly believe that, like I said earlier, I'm not anything phenomenal. I'm not a great leader. I feel like God just blessed me because I take to whom much is given, much is expected extremely seriously. And, he knew that we were getting by and we were paying our bills and all the things on Andrew's salary. But what an amazing blessing that Andrew had been praying for so much more. Lord, give me a way to make more money so that we can do more with Mission Messiah, so that we can do more for our church. And it's kind of cool. I should get him on one of these calls. He said, how crazy is it that I never, ever through those prayers on my face thought it would be through my wife, who was a stay-at-home mom. So it's kind of crazy the way, not to take y'all to church, but it's part of who I am at my core. It's the most important part of who I am, that God was like, okay, I see you and I'm going to bless you because of how you've lived your life. All of my stars in my crown were relationships for the first 36 years of my life. And then God chose to bless me financially through a relationship-based business. It's really pretty cool. I know that wasn't your question, but that was great.
And I'm teary-eyed because I've gotten to see and it's funny because people are commenting about getting to watch the mission, watching that play out. And y'all weren't even attached to your church at the time that Plexus even started. So just the fact that has just kind of flown, kind of flowed into all of this. I know you could probably talk an hour about this, but real quick, wrap up what Mission Messiah is, how your dad kind of got launched into it, how long y'all have been a part of it, and kind of where y'all are in that process right now.
So my dad went on a mission trip when I was 15 to Kenya, Mpukani, Kenya. And when he was leaving, he had gotten really close to the pastor there, who, by the way, preached to his wife under a tree for 3 years before the first person visited his church. I told Andrew I'd give him about 3 weeks. But anyways, super faithful guy. Dad just fell in love with him. And when he was leaving, he said, well, I'll see you soon. And Pastor Timothy said, thank you for coming, but white people never come back here. And I mean, my dad is a very driven, I say it's like Jesus, Billy Graham, Mike Neville on my list. And Andrew Gwynn is really high on that list too, of people that I admire for their faith. My dad committed right then and there that he was going to, continue to work with the Maasai tribe and Pastor Timothy in Mpukani, Kenya. And he just kept going back. And, for the first 15, 16 years, it was just my dad and his successful, wealthy businessmen in Dallas kind of jumping on a plane with a toothbrush, John Wayne style, in their front pocket, going to camp out under a tree and tell people about Jesus. And they built the first church. I think in 1996. And my dad has Parkinson's and hasn't been able to go back. And in the midst of that, we had a trip planned and Andrew was supposed to go. And at that point, we were just like, yay, let's go love on some kids and do a VBS. And my dad said, I'm not going to be able to go. And Andrew's like, oh, well, what are we going to do? I guess we better cancel it. And my dad was like, well, why don't you lead it? And it's cool because it really started with me and Andrew honoring my dad because we just love and admire him so much. And it had really nothing to do with the mission. It was just about honoring my father. And now it's literally like our whole life. I mean, God has just put a burden on our heart for the people of Kenya. And we made it a 501c3, I guess about 10 years ago, Andrew did. And we started a child sponsorship program, which I would say about half of our 350 kids are sponsored by Plexus people.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool because it's like, you know, you might not can do a lot, but a little can from a lot of people can do a lot. $30 a month to sponsor a child. And I would say about half of our kids are sponsored by Plexus people.
Yeah, both of my boys have a boy. So both of my boys have a boy their age that they get to,
yeah. So that's been really neat. And of course, I've had Plexus people give big too. I mean, I've got a senior gold on my team, an older lady who gives every penny that she makes back to Mission Messiah. She built a $7,500 church last year for a pastor there that needed a building. We've built 28 churches at this point. We built a seminary, and by we, I mean God used us. We didn't do anything. We built a medical clinic, a birthing center. We go probably 3 times a year. We do VBS. We're training about 40 pastors right now. They come in monthly for 3 days a month to get a degree, like to get a certificate for seminary so that they can go plant churches. And God has just been super faithful. And Plexus literally is the why behind why we've been able to do what we've been able to do. I mean, that prayer that Andrew had about just feeling that burden to do more for missions. I mean, you know, you have this like bucket list and it's like this big and you don't like, I never even fathomed what we would be able to do, you know? And it's really funny because my dad has always been very like, don't tell people what you're doing and get your reward in heaven. Don't let the left hand know what the right hand is doing. And I was actually talking to my pastor at Anchor Church, who I've brought to Hawaii on a couple of trips. So he loves Plexus. He drinks Plexus from the pulpit almost every Sunday. Lots of Plexus people up in our church. And he said, you know, Celeste, I understand that you want your reward in heaven. He goes, but there's a lot of people that don't care about your trips to Hawaii. There's a lot of people that don't care about your shopping sprees and your cars. But if they know what you've been able to do for your church and for missions, that's going to be their why. That's going to drive them. Not everyone's super blue and just came to party. You know, there's a lot of people that when they know, holy moly, she's, you know, God has used her to build 26 churches and train 40 pastors and built a medical clinic and a birthing center and you know, all the things. That's going to motivate people to work. So I very awkwardly share and it makes me uncomfortable, but you know, I do it with a pure heart, hoping that folks know that the why behind sharing is absolutely not for me to get any glory of look what I've done, but it's literally like God has a crazy sense of humor that he used an industry that I mocked for 36 years to do really big things for him. So that's the why behind it.
Oh, I love it. Okay, so I've gotten to sit on a plane next to Celeste and add up all of her paychecks. And this was years ago. Golly, like I want to say like 6 years ago, we were sitting on a plane back from Phoenix and she was like, okay, add them all up because she had both positions and it was the Friday checks and the big checks. And she's not a numbers girl. She's not going to hang out in her back office and she's definitely not going to try to figure out the pay point for herself, nor is she going to add up all the checks. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, let me do it. So I had my little phone calculator out and I'm adding it and the numbers growing. And I just like, I know it's grown since then just because we're talking 6 years ago, but in all the things that you've done business wise, what would you go back to the first couple of years, those first 2 years building to diamond twice? And what would you do differently? Maybe not specifically on one position or the other, but what do you feel like you could have done that, I mean, the rest of the world, we all know, okay, like, I just want to put this out there. Celeste is a unicorn. Like, it's not something you see. We've seen it once in our businesses, and truly as a company, we've never seen it before. And I say that because how many actual stars do you have between your two positions? 16 stars?
Yeah, I think I'm holding 12.
Okay.
But I've got 2 more. I think I'm going to get 2 more this year.
And we've talked about that. And it fluctuates. And when we say stars, those are individual legs of business. So think about your level ones, and like the people underneath each one of your level ones counts as a leg. And Celeste has 12 holding jewels. So they're somewhere in her 1 through 4s, and each one of those legs, someone is holding a jewel position, like holding it solid, going to make it to like the Mexico/Hawaii trips every year. So they have to hold it, whatever. So the unicorn part of that is the fact that very rarely do you go that wide, that fast, and have that many people successful. So that's rare. And so saying, what would you do differently? I'm sure all of us are like, well, what would you do? Like, just tell me what to do. Like, give me like 1% of what you've done. But I do think that there's learning along the way. And I know that you've probably learned lessons in the last 10 years. So what are some lessons that you feel like you could actually give to like a silver or gold or senior gold, that as they're building their own 3-star, 4-star, business over the next 5 to 10 years, that they're like, oh, wait, Celeste told me to do this, and I want to make sure I do that first.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much. No, I'm serious. Like there really is so much. I think that probably I've got 2 things. The first thing I would do is I would really have pursued business builders with a vengeance. Because our business is insane. Like, we know our products are great, and it's so easy to share about the products and our results, and oh, we're 45 and we look great and we're sleeping great. We've got, if you're 25 and you've got babies, you've got the crazy energy to chase your baby. Like, there's so many things that we can boldly share about. But I think that we've just been conditioned, and I'm not saying it's right or wrong, to not talk about finances, right? Like, it feels extremely uncomfortable to tell people how much money you're making. Like, even when you're talking about adding up my check, I mean, I literally have sweaty pits right now. Like, I was like, oh, please don't say a number. Oh, Jesus, please don't let her say a number. Like, but I mean, like, it just feels so uncomfortable to talk about. But I think I would have really looked at my community and my sphere of influence and pursued people that were already successful in businesses, right? Like, I think so often, yeah, I had massive success going after my really close friends that really needed the money, right? And when you're hungry, you're going to work hard. But I think often we forget to go, oh, they're already uber successful at X, Y, and Z. They do 3 other things. They see the value of having multiple streams of income. Why would I not pursue them and get this comp plan in front of them? And whether I'm senior, silver, or double diamond, either I'm sharing about what I have done or what I believe I can do just by looking at the comp plan, getting that in front of business people that also want to be healthy, right? That also want to have fun along the way, that also want to change people's lives. But I think that's the number one thing. I think I knew a lot of really successful people that I was really nervous, like we said earlier, about what they were going to think about me if I tried to get in front of these important people and share about my little network marketing thing with them 10 years ago, right? So I think I would have been much more bold. What do I wish I would have known then what I know now, to get in front of already very successful business people. Not just people that I knew were hungry, that were hard work. It worked out great for me, right? Like, God led the right people to my team. But getting in front of people that I know have what it takes, the work ethic, the desire, the vision, the leadership skills. I also think the second thing that I probably would have done differently, better, maybe just say I wish I would have realized the value of leadership skills. You know, I'm not a business person. I don't have a degree. I've got a degree in childcare administration, and I used it to raise my family. So really came in handy to run my household and raise really great kids. But I wish that I would have focused more on, I still struggle with feeling inadequate as a leader, even 10 years later. And I know that's, you know, lies from the enemy, but I think if I would have done the work earlier on, that I would probably be a better leader now. Like, I mean, God still chose to bless me without that skill set, but I think there's massive value in seeing yourself as a leader. If you've got 3 people on your team, start a team page, start a group chat, like dress for the part you want, not the part you have. You know, and obviously I was catapulted into that. And I feel like me and Jen Hawkins, neither of us really knew what we were doing. And we figured it out along the way with all of our leaders. Like, I mean, I take zero credit for my leaders because I'm like, oh, Jenny didn't know what she was doing. I didn't know what I was doing. We were just doing the dang thing. And it worked out, you know, just because we had that passion and commitment and belief.
I think that's so great. I think what's so interesting is you're going so fast sometimes in the beginning. And this is where that fast in the beginning can be really great, but it can also be a little bit of a detriment. As if you asked Celeste or I mean, Celeste went much faster than I did, but if you asked either one of us how we did the first like 5 to 6 months of our business, we'd be like, I don't know. I kept telling people, and then they were kind of interested, but I was also telling other people, but I was also telling other people. And I mean, you had 100 different conversations all happening at one time, pure excitement, pure belief that people needed what you had, and the vision and the possibility of what could happen if just 3 more friends signed up. Like, it wasn't like we were trying to go double diamond at that point.
Right. But you know what's really cool about that is, like you said, you were using past tense. I still feel like that. I mean, I did a post today. Like, I wake up excited, feeling extremely blessed that I get to do this every day, and knowing that there's still people that need this 10 years later. I mean, honestly, like, the momentum, we might, you know, obviously it may have slowed down a bit, but, you know, tell my paycheck, right? Like, I mean, still killing it 10 years later and still enjoying it every day. And something that my dad has said my whole life is, you know, whatever you decide to do, you better enjoy it, because you spend most of your life at work. And I'll say in groups, you know, like when we're out to dinner with couples, like, oh, I don't really work that much anymore. And Andrew just glares at me and he's like, you don't know you're working. He's like, you are so blessed because you love what you do so much that it's fun for you. Like, you literally don't realize how hard you still work 10 years later, because it's just been integrated into your life. You know, whether I'm on vacation in Mexico, you know, friending 17 people in a pool, that's work. Or whether I'm sitting here in my pajamas on a call, feel like I'm hanging out with, you know, 20 of my closest friends, like, this is work, but it just doesn't feel like it. So what I love is that I still feel that, you know, I don't work like I once did, but I still really enjoy it every single day.
Okay, so this goes perfectly into my next question, which is, why are you
Maybe
still adding?
that's why I said that. Maybe it was a segue because I knew it was coming.
So we've talked about this before, and you and I have had this conversation, and I think there have been seasons. Okay, I'm not going to give you a number, but I'm just going to tell you all, Celeste makes over 6 figures every single month. So, and she has for as long as I can, like, for quite a long, I mean, for like over 6 years. So if you could have 7 years, 8 years, I'm trying to think of when I sat on the plane and added up those things. And I just want to tell you all that because it's grown, but it's also like, it's solid. Like, it's not like she's like dipping, like, it's not like it's doing this. I mean, if we looked at charts, maybe over 10 years, it's done, you know, a lot of this, but I just want to say, like, I'm not giving you a number. I'm just telling y'all it is over 6 figures a month. And if you think about the fact that she is so wide in jewels that also want to hold their own businesses, also want to grow their own businesses. Like, if I quit working tomorrow, Becky's like, I don't care what you're doing or not doing. I got things, I got to pay my own bills. So I still got to work, you know, and Celeste says 12 people wide of that. So why still show up? You and I have had this conversation. I think there have been seasons where you're like, I think I'm done. I'm going to kind of let everyone else have some fun. And I'm just going to kind of do the mission thing and the mom thing. And, kids were graduating high school for a while, back to back, Maddie, Grace, and Nate. And so it was like, I think I'm just going to kind of not take a break, but just not be as involved all the time. Maybe not speak as much, not do as much. But I kind of feel like recently you've kind of like in the last maybe 2 years, you've kind of stepped a little more back in. And it's not because she needs the money, guys. So it's not like, oh, Celeste's check must be really far down. I guess she needs the money. She's showing back up. What keeps you from totally being like, y'all have fun? I'm just going to enjoy all the work everybody on this call does, make Celeste some money. So I'm just going to like sit back. I've done calls for 10 years and not do this anymore. Why still show up?
So it's kind of funny because I get asked this quite a bit from folks like in the industry, like not even some Plexus people, but not just Plexus people. Like apparently people think they can figure out, about how much money I make. And they're like, why in the world do you still work? Like we talk about residual income, like you could never work again and make high 6 figures monthly for a very, very long time. And like, I guess like I've gone to a couple of industry things and, it's like people that have like written books or like they're doing coaching and all the thing, like they're like they're still getting checks, but they're not still building. They're not still pouring into their teams. And I don't know, like, I just have a massive conviction about that if this is my calling and I know how amazing it is, how freaking selfish how freaking selfish would it be for me to be all right, guys, I'm going to go buy an island in the Bahamas. Y'all keep working for me and I'm probably not going to be available. Like, I just feel like, like we were put on this planet to have purpose and to work, work unto the Lord. So for me, I'm like, I told you earlier, I still love it. It doesn't feel like work. I know there's still people that need the business. I know there's still people that need the opportunities. I know there's still a need in Africa and at my church for me to make more money, right? Like, I mean, I'm not Donald Trump. I'm not Ross Perot. I'm trying to think of Elon Musk, like really rich people. I don't know. Like, there's always like going to be a way that I can bless folks, if I continue to make more money. And I still really like it. I guess that the short answer is it just would feel extremely selfish to be a check collector when I know there's still people that need me, that still need the business, that still need encouragement, that still need support, and still need our products. That was not a short answer. I said it was going to be a short answer.
It wasn't, but it also, like, your nuggets are perfect on, like, you're not done yet. Like, God's not done with this story yet. And until you feel like he's called you out of this and into something totally different, you're going to continue to be obedient and a good steward of what you and the Lord have really built together here. Like he has brought to you and you have been a good steward of. So y'all have done it together so much. Okay,
you said that way more eloquently than I did. Can you type that out and send it to me?
I'm going to send it to you. What are 3 keys that you would say? Yes. And people are like, high 6 figures. I'm like, yeah, high 6 figures monthly. And I will say, like, y'all, this is where width comes in. If you truly want to look at Celeste as a success story,
build wide,
authenticity, like boldness, I would say, like growing in boldness, and you can grow in things like that. Belief being so high, but the width of people that she has helped, like, okay, do you want it? Okay, I'm going to keep chasing after, like, she's chased after people for their own benefit. And I think Roz would say that if Roz was on this call, I think Roz would say, Celeste chased after me for my benefit, not for Celeste's benefit. Like, did it help Celeste? Yes. I mean, this team is massive. Like, I mean, what Roz's team has brought to Celeste is so helpful, but I would say Celeste has always been so like, Roz, you get to do this and you get to take all those other things off your plate and you get to do this fully. And when you figure out that you can do this and go to Mexico with your friends last week and go to the basketball tournaments the last couple of weekends, and, you know, for Beck, she could sit in car line for 2 hours, I think every single day. You can do the thing and still be really successful in this business, like pursuing other people and what they need. Okay. So I'm not going to take any words out of your mouth. Sel, what would you say are 3 keys to your success that other people on this call actually have access to?
Hold on, let me look at my notes. That's all I wrote down. It's 3 words for the whole call. So I'm going to go into each one, but I'll tell you what they are: belief, consistency, and community. And we've already talked a little bit about belief, but I think there's really like 3 components to belief. And we probably talked about all of them, but just to repeat them, it's belief in yourself, and if you don't believe in yourself, like, look around. I mean, like, y'all are on this call with me and Becky and Andrea, and listen, we're hot messes, right? I mean, if we can do this, you should be able to believe in yourself. Sorry, I just threw you guys under the bus. I sure did. We're Hot Mess Express, and we're over here doing the dang thing. So if you don't have belief in yourself, look around at other leaders and go watch diamond documentaries. You're going to see we are all from different backgrounds, different socioeconomic levels, different parts of the country. We're all so different, and we're all doing this business so differently, yet we're all having success. And there's so much like stuff, get in God's word to build that belief in yourself, that you are equipped, that you are fearfully and wonderfully made, and to work and be successful, that you can build that belief in yourself. Belief in our products. Again, if you don't believe in our products, I kind of just want to say, like, are you taking them? Because I can't fathom feeling how I feel and not believing in our products versus how I felt for the first 36 years of my life. But go in your team page, go in my team page, Google search testimonials, like whatever it takes to build that. Our products work. Like, you can go in a team page, don't Google search, Google's stupid. Search in Facebook, keyword search is what I meant to say. To find testimonials, like, you can build belief in our products and then belief in our business. I mean, y'all, if you're on this call and you don't believe in this business after hearing that this stay-at-home mom from a teeny tiny town with 1 stoplight, with no expertise in anything other than like raising awesome kids, can be the top earner in a company, then you're like, I don't know what else you can possibly do to build belief in the business. If you're like, I was on a Zoom call with the top earner, that girl didn't have on any makeup, she looks like she hadn't washed her hair in 8 days. I haven't. And she's not eloquent and she's the top earner. I can do this too. Like, you can build, that's belief in the business and in yourself right there, just being on this call right now and going, that girl's a hot mess and she's doing it. So, and then the second one was consistency. And I think that's just like the value of showing up every day, right? Like, y'all, in 10 years, 11 years on the products, 10 years of the business, I have never gone a day without sharing on social media and in real life about Plexus. Authentically, through very real, non-salesy, this is what I'm doing. Andrea's really, really good at this on her stories too. Like, you're really good at like, oh crap, I just listened to her talk about Plexus. I thought I was watching a video of Ella, and all of a sudden she's telling me about the monthly deals. Like, you do a really good job of like bringing people in, and then they don't even know. It's almost like you're tricking them, but you're not. To really like be invested in your life, be interested in other people. Don't just try to be interesting, but be consistent with sharing daily. Be consistent with that follow-up. Consistency is literally why I'm here. I try 10 years in to go silver every month. Don't always succeed. Sometimes I plant a lot of seeds and then I add 8 the next month, right? Like, but I'm consistently, even 10 years later, trying to go silver by adding 3 people every single month. And that's why I'm deep and wide, as a song, deep and wide. Yeah. And then the third one would be community. And I don't even think we've really talked about this, but I think some of our massive success early on was the community that we built. And you saying like about stepping back a little bit, what you probably see, Andrea, is that I'm diving in headfirst for community right now. I realized that through COVID, nobody had community, right? I mean, and we'd already backed off a little bit before that, but the value of feeling like you're a part of something keeps so many people plugged in, right? the value of having like-minded people, of having team lunches, these Zooms where you're stuck at home, but you're able to see other people. Normally I like to listen. That's when I'm talking a lot, but to be able to just have conversations, day in and day out, community is key. And I think in-person events were very, very vital in the beginning for us. And I think that we're missing the mark, just to throw myself under the bus, that we don't do more of them now. So do what I say, not as I do. If you're new, go have events. And that doesn't mean it has to be awesome. Invite 5 friends over for a pink drink and conversation and talk about what you hope happens. If you're not having success yet, what you hope is to come because you were on a call with these 3 leaders that were, amazing, and are having success just as normal moms, whatever that looks like. The value of community is key. So belief, consistency, community.
I love it. Okay. Now everyone's going to go out and go 12 jewels wide now that you have all of the tricks and tips of the trade. Y'all, if you found value in anything that Celeste shared today, if you feel like you got a nugget, will you drop it in the chat? Because I think so often it's like, did anything I say connected? And I just think it was so good. I mean, you made me cry, so there was that. But I just think here's what we were just talking about this. Where were we? We were at the Star Diamond trip in Phoenix in February. I'm like, what were we where? And Dr. Henry Cloud pulled Celeste out, singled her out in the room and said, like, she stood up and he was like, y'all, you can do this. Like, you're looking at someone has broken the minute mile barrier. Like, this is possible. Going 12 stars, like, doesn't have to be like oh, that would be so great. Like, anyone can do this. You just have to put yourself out there. You just have to be bold. You have to be consistent. You do, so many of the things that we just talked about for the last hour, but like, it's kind of incredible. And Celeste hates it. I think there's like a love-hate, like you kind of love like getting championed for all the work that you've done and all of the sacrifices that you have made and all of it's like, there's been rises and falls of, everything in the last 10 years. So I think sometimes it's nice to be acknowledged for what you've accomplished, but it's also like being singled out for being the person, a room of star diamonds, 3-star and up, are all staring at Celeste going, she's like, yeah. Hi peers, hi people I look up to, hi people I still follow for, leadership and for, wisdom and products and stuff. And she's like,
yeah, I'm kind of over that part of it, just to be honest. Like, I have made it really clear that I don't need to be on stage. Like, it's not like, I don't know, like hierarchy of needs.
Is great,
like,
though.
I'm
Let's
good with self-actualization. There's so many other people that it will fill their cup to be singled out. Like God has been so good to me. Like, I'm good. Like, y'all, some of y'all know, by the way, I just saw, like, I can't see everybody. I'm not, like, I just saw Wesley Bishop is on here and Brandy Walker. Like, I can only see Andrea and Becky, like, of like people that I like know. So I don't want y'all to think I'm leaving y'all out. But I just was looking through the chat and saw, oh, there's some other people I know really well on here, and Aaron, and there's a lot of y'all. But I think I'm grateful, but I definitely am like at a point. I mean, I've just had a lot of personal growth. I mean, there was a season just to like have a little therapy session where I really did kind of think I was a big deal for a minute. And then I realized, like, I got a word from the Lord. He was like, sis, you're a network marketer. Come on. So real humbled after that, and kind of got aligned and got my priorities in order and, focused on the things that matter most. And God has just continued to pour out his blessing on my family. And I'm grateful because it's because of y'all. I mean, like I said, like, I'm legit just one chick that got a bunch of people excited, and then that trickle down is amazing. It's been a blessing for sure, but I don't take any glory for that.
Imagine pushing on someone like a Roz who pushes back, who's a professional, who does all these things. And she pushed on Roz to do this because she knew Rosalind needed the income. And because Rosalind needed the income, she posted one time on social media, and I was like, I'll try that. And 5 months later, after watching Celeste be successful, not Roz wasn't having like this massive success at the time. And I was watching Celeste be successful. I was like, I want in too. And so I signed up with Rosalind as a brand ambassador. And because of that, this and every person you can think of that's sideline and upline and downline to you makes $100 extra a month or $500 extra a month or $1,000 or what she was talking about, that $2,000 in the beginning. And I just think like, you have no idea the impact of pushing on other people what could be so good for them. Like there's a difference between being pushy and like impressing on people. And I would really say like you can be pushy for you, like, oh my gosh, I've got to get that third person in, or I've got to earn the thing. Please sign up for me, versus like, I'm pushing into you because I know that I need to push you into an uncomfortable place for you, but it will be such a gift and such a blessing to your family. So as you're reaching out to people today, just think like, whose life could be changed because you're literally pressing into them and saying, you need the business. Remember what Celeste said? She said, I really wish I had really pressed into people the business building aspect of this. And so I really want to challenge you to do that. And I promise you, Celeste will never run out of a person to talk to. It's not a thing. She doesn't have, Rebecca Folk says this all the time. She doesn't have a file for that. There's no computable like file for running out of people, which means you're not in community. If you're running out of people, you are not in community. You're probably not being consistent. And I'm so thankful for you, Celeste, for a million reasons, but thank you for today, for an hour of your time for our team. I really appreciate it.
This was awesome.
Y'all have a great rest of your Monday, and we'll talk to you later. Bye, y'all.
Bye, y'all.